Rance Clayton, we'll get on him in a little bit. Rance Clayton, that was my down ref at Atlantic City. He's one of the best there is. If somebody wants to talk about him not doing his job correctly, then they are way off base, because I have never, ever seen Rance make a bad call or make a call that just didn't exist. He's a really
Let's get into that now. Let's start that whole thing. Let's give everybody the background now of what we're talking about. So recently, Sean threw a big event in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He had the main event. He had Tim Bresnan pulling Dave Marrocco. Now there was a little controversy with the payment at the end for the hotel room, and you know what? I'm gonna let you tell the full story, Sean, because I honestly only know one half of it. So
right, and that's exactly right. I implore people to, whenever they hear half of a story, to keep your mind open and understand that there is another half of the story out there, because in all actuality, this was not a controversy over a room. That's what Dave wants us to believe. That's what Dave wants the people outside in the arm wrestling world to believe. He wants to create some type of doubt in their mind. Say, oh, it could have been some type of miscommunication, and it might have been on a room, just to create some doubt in their mind to possibly get them on his side. This was not about a room. So now Dave approached me in early June about doing a match with Tim. We wound up locking that match in on June the 7th. They pulled on July the 23rd, which was about 6 weeks after. Okay, so we had a lot to get together in 6 weeks. The terms were $1,000 a show. Dave would pay Tim $1,000 to show. Dave would pay Tim $1,000 to win, and Dave would pay for Tim's hotel room. I'm not even going to get into the hotel room right now. I'm just going to just hammer on the fact that this was not about the hotel room. Now, there was no prize money for Dave, because Dave's prize would be Tim's rank. And that's very typical in the arm wrestling world. If there's a non-ranked person wanting a very high-ranked person's rank, wanting to go after their rank, he's going to pay for that rank. He's going to have to pay to get the athlete there. He's going to have to pay him to win. He's going to have to pay for his travels, pay for his hotel. That's what's typical. Money to show, money to win, travels, and hotel. That's everything. I agree.
And just so my subscribers know, what rank is Tim now? Is he? I haven't checked recently. Is he like number 10 or 9 or something around there?
I think you said. Well, there's two. We have two rankings out. I'm really not sure where he's at. I thought he was still in the top 5 in both. Okay. I could be wrong about that. Anybody that's wondering, and you can go to the In the Hook ranking. That is a North American ranking. So he may be ranked a little bit higher or lower, whatever, however you look at it, in the North American ranking versus the United States ranking. You can go to armfighter.com to look up his U.S. ranking. I'm actually on the committee for that ranking committee. But so I don't know. I can't remember his rank. I thought he was still in the top 5, but
he's number 7 in the Hook rankings. I just checked right now. So that is a huge jump, because I believe Dave's not, he's not in the top 20 right now. So
I don't see, so when you have someone that's not ranked going after someone that is a high rank, especially someone that I guess as prestigious as what Tim would be, and you're going to pay for that, so that was what the agreement was. Actually, Dave even asked me to get him some money on the line. I said, Dave, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to win to beat him. If you win, you get his rank. And I actually used the format that Doug Allen threw at me whenever I tried to get Doug to pull myself. That was the actual number that he threw at me, was 1,000 to win, 1,000 to show, travels, and hotel. I'm ranked in the top 15, way up there, kind of close to 15. Doug's ranked down to like the top 3 or whatever. So for me to win, I'm taking Doug's rank, but I'm not going to win any money. But I'm going to have to pay Doug to go out there and pull him. So anyway, back to past the agreement. So through this process, yes, there was some time that I was trying to get, because I did not want it on me. I actually didn't want to even be in the middle of the money. That just happened by circumstance. So I tried to get out of it by getting a link for Dave to pay for the room himself. Now, this was our host hotel. This was a hotel that was adjacent to the Steel Pier where we were having the tournament. It was also the cheapest hotel. Anybody that knows AC knows that Showboat is one of the original original. Actually, I think it's the only original casino that's still original there. In other words, every other casino's come and somebody else is built a new one behind it, whatever else. But my point is, Showboat's old, Showboat's cheap. Is $700 cheap in most places? Nope. Is it on Atlantic City Boardwalk during prime season? Yes, sir. So that's what the agreement was. I assume Dave, knowing that area because he lives just north of there, he would understand that the boardwalk is expensive. Now with Tim living 5 hours away, and it could take longer than that to get there because you start getting that Jersey traffic. You look at Dave. Dave talks about how he was a 1 hour drive away and it took him 5 hours or 4.5 hours to get there. Tim wasn't going to do that. You're not going to ask a top athlete to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to drive to Atlantic City for a show. Top athlete is going to stay there on the premises Friday night. He did not stay on Thursday night. He came in on Friday. He stayed Friday night and he stayed Saturday night. This was an all-day event that Tim was working by reffing, and he was also pulling the event. You're not going to ask an athlete, especially an elite athlete like Tim, to drive home on Saturday night after the tournament. He's going to stay Friday night and Saturday night. It's just the way that it is. Is it common in my world? Yep, it's very common. That's exactly what I do with my staff when we're flying all over the place, when we're going to Vegas or Atlantic City or wherever we go. The athletes that are coming in, they're staying Friday night and Saturday night. I don't think I can remember a time, maybe one time, and that was only because the athlete wanted to get back home on Sunday morning, that they didn't stay Saturday night as well. All of my people stayed Friday night and Saturday night. But like I said, I'm just going to dig in stone that this was not about a room, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. So anyway, leading up to the day of the event, Tim comes out and at the time to pool, and he's sitting out there, and it's hot, humid. Tim's sitting out there. He says, "Where's Dave at?" I tell him that Dave is in traffic, that he's getting there as quick as he can. Let me back up to that morning. So we get there Friday night, and I'm going to have to back up even further than that. The link to the room, I was not able to get because it was the host hotel, and I had everybody's rooms under a master account, and I was dealing with different people, and most of them were not really fluently speaking Americans. So they wouldn't understand what it was just too big of a headache to try to get them to cut out one room off of my master group, And I called and talked to Dave about this. This was one of the only phone conversations that we had. We had about 2 or 3 phone conversations. This was one of them. And I explained that to him. I said, look, this is just a headache. I said, he asked me at the time, he said, "Where's the room at?" I said, "It's at the Showboat on the boardwalk." So he knew where the room was. I told him that we're having a hard time getting a link for it. I said, "Is it okay if I just pay for it and then you pay me back at the event?" That's fine. Everything was really easy going with Dave and I. He was really easy to get along with. He agreed to pretty much everything that we said. And during that phone conversation, I told him, I said, because he was asking about where the room was going to be, and that made me think that, well, maybe he's concerned about price. So I'm going to go ahead and tell him that it's going to be expensive. I didn't know how much it was going to be exactly. I knew they were giving me a discount, and I knew that Friday night was a different price than Saturday night. In other words, Friday night's like $400 and some odd dollars. Saturday night's like $300 and some odd dollars. And they were giving me a discount. I was dealing with the manager there, trying to get as big a discount as I could. I've dealt with them before. That was our host hotel there. We had a qualifier 2 years ago in Atlantic City. That was our host hotel. So I'm dealing with management, trying to get a big discount as I possibly can. I don't know what my discount's going to be. I don't know if they're giving me 20% discount, which it ended up being, or if they were going to give me a 50% discount, which it was 2 years ago. So I couldn't quote a price. I just didn't know, but I did tell him, I said, you know, this is going to be expensive, right? Whenever I told Dave, you know, this is going to be expensive, right? I can't remember the exact words Dave said, but it was just one of them easygoing remarks that he comes up with. And he was just kind of braggadocious that money's not an issue. Oh, it don't matter. You know, money's not an issue. I don't know what the exact words were, but that was the demeanor from Dave whenever I told him that it was going to be expensive. So Saturday morning, we get there Friday night. We book into the hotels. I have all of my invoices. We were busy. I was setting up. I didn't send him the figures Friday night, but Saturday morning, before Dave gets there, and this is in the threads on my Facebook, the screenshots of the messages. Saturday morning, I sent him a message telling him exactly how much the room was. Now, yesterday, when Dave was online with you, he told you that if he would have been halfway there and somebody would have told him how much the room was, he would have turned his truck around and went back home. That was the exact words. I just now watched it for the first time. I would have turned my truck around and went back home. He knew ahead of time. He knew before he left how much the room was, and he still came. He still only brought $2,200 with him, and he still decided to pull. This is not about a room. Dave comes. He pulls the match. He gets there. He's there at like 2:30 in the afternoon. We were supposed to pull at like noon. Dave evidently warmed up in the car. He when he gets there, he's all sweaty, covered in sweat, and he's pushing me to hurry up and start. Man, I'm ready. I'm warmed up. I don't want to cool down. Let's go. Let's get the match on. That's the reason I had the money in my hand. If I have the money in my pocket, I have the money. The money's already taken care of. The money's taken care of that morning when the athletes get there. He's literally running down the up here. He gets to me out of breath. I'm ready to pull. Let's go. I'm warm. I don't want to cool down. We go to the table. They get it on. They pull. They get their 6 rounds out of the way, which was a crazy fight. Now, this is at the end of the iconic steel pier out over the ocean under a tent. A very, very large tent. And when the fight was over with, everybody kind of broke away. Tim went to his corner over there with his son. Dave went to his corner. They kind of broke away to catch their breath, you know, and just talk about it for a minute. And I remember Tim walking around the edge of the tent, holding his arm up, doing it like this, you know, trying to shake some of the blood back out of it, which is pretty typical. So he's walking around kind of by himself, you know, just doing this whole motion. So I go over there and I talk to Tim. I'm standing with Tim for a little while, and several minutes roll by, and Tim starts looking around. He says, "Where's Dave?" So then there's like 4 or 5 people standing there with us. So we all start looking around. Where's Dave? There's only one way in and there's only one way out. So we didn't see Dave under the tent. We looked out. And when we looked out, we saw the back of his shirt walking down the pier. Tim barks at me, "Go get my money." Yes, sir. So me and some other really big dude go after Dave, and it wasn't very far. It was a very, very crowded. They have a fair out there on this pier, so it's very, very crowded. So it wasn't, but maybe 60 or 70 yards from the tent, but it's very crowded. If he would have went another 10 yards or so, we wouldn't be able to see him at all because there's just so many people. So we stopped him. And whenever I asked him, I said, "Hey man," I said, "where's that money?" This is his whole demeanor. When I said, "Where's that money?" He went, oh yeah. And he starts reaching his pockets. "I forgot." And he pulls out this wad of cash. He said, "But I was coming right back." He said, "I was just going to go and walk it off, you know, but I was coming right back, you know." He never came back. He never came back. Never came back. Just threw up a whole bunch of, you know, hairs tingling on the back of my neck at that point. I'm like, he was just fixing to try to walk out of here. And that's the same sense everybody got. Whenever I walked back to Tim, that was the conversation, was he was trying to leave the tournament without pay. And by all rights, that's precisely the way that it seemed. Now, whenever I asked him for the money, he broke the wad of cash out, and he says, "Tell Tim I'm $500 short, but I'll send it to him tomorrow. He did not have an agreement with Tim about a room. He had an agreement with Tim about $2,000. He had an agreement with me about the room. He knew the room was basically $700. He did not say, here's $2,200. I'm $500 short. I'll send you $500 tomorrow. He said, tell Tim I'll send Tim the $500 tomorrow. He's paying me. He's reimbursing me for in full. That's by his word. It just doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. He's paying me off in full. When he gives me the money, he says, tell Tim I'm $500 short, and I'll send him the money tomorrow. I said, okay, I'll see how this goes with Tim. So as I'm walking back to Tim, I'm already prepared to give Tim the whole $2,000, and I'll work it out with Dave down the road. When I get to Tim, I tell Tim what he said. He said, just to see if Tim was okay with it. And I said, this is what he's got. He's short. And Tim's like, yep, I knew it. I knew something was up. I knew him, So I said, well, he says he'll send you the other $500 tomorrow. I said, are you okay with that? You make sure you get my money from me out of him. I said, okay, I will. So it's on me now. He's like, I'm okay with that. You make sure you get that money from him. I said, okay. So we're squared away at the time. Tim's got $1,500. I'm reimbursed in full. Tim goes on to have a really, really good day in the tournament. He wins a couple more $1,000 by winning the overall and winning the tournament and stuff. So he has a really good day. He's not that concerned about the money. And the next day, or maybe a day or two later, I reached back out to Dave and I said, Dave, did you send Tim that money? And Dave kind of popped off and said, I told you I was going to be on vacation. I would send Tim the money next week. I wasn't trying to argue with him. So I said, okay, just make sure you send it to him. He didn't tell me he's going to send it next week. He said he's going to send it the next day. Regardless, a week rocks on, and then Tim contacts me, and Tim says, what about my money from Dave? I said, let me contact him. So I reach out to Dave, and I said, Dave, did you get Tim that money yet? And every time I talked to Dave, it was just swishy-washy back and forth. Well, I got to figure out if my wife's got a PayPal or what she's got to send in the money, and I'll get back with you. So I get back with him. Well, she don't have that, but what's his address? I'll just mail it to him. Just always trying to put something off. Now, the reason I say that I'll go ahead and fast forward. The reason I say this was not about a room is because there was never one complaint about a room. He knew there was 2 nights. He knew it was $670 I was already reimbursed for. He never once complained about $670. He never once complained about 2 nights until 4 weeks later, which was just recently when all this went down. So again, he's wishy-washy. He wants Tim's address. So I get with Tim. Tim thinks it's ridiculous, but he gives me his address anyway. So I forward that over to Dave. A week later, Tim contacts me again. Where's my money? Let me find out. So I reach out to Dave. Dave says, yeah, I forgot, but I'm going to get that to him. I'm going to get it to him. I said, okay. So we're lenient again, not trying to make any waves. So, but long story short, he never gets it to him. Another week rolls by, and I send him a message, and I say, now this is a perfect opportunity if he's got a room with a problem with the amount of money that he gave me for the room, for him to say, okay, do it then. I told Dave, and it's in the text message, it's in one of the screenshot text messages on my Facebook under that thread. I told Dave, I said, either you're going to have to send him that money or I'm going to have to. If he had a problem how much he paid me, he would have said it right then. Yeah, well, I already paid you too much. You need to pay him. Or you didn't pay your athlete, like he was saying. That was your athlete. You didn't pay him. You should have already paid him. He didn't say anything like that. Read the comments that he wrote. He wrote on there, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to pay him. And then for the next week or so, that was what it was about every time. I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to pay it. I'm going to pay it. He never complained about me whatsoever. He never blamed me at all, ever. He never blamed it on a room or the 2 nights or anything like that.
So
It was
what happened online? You know, because he said something happened recently online or something.
I tried to keep this offline. I never wanted it online. He put it online. Whenever I pretty much gave him kind of an ultimatum per se, I told him, I said, hey, I'm fixing to pay him back and you're gonna pay me back, you know. And then after that, he put it online. And then he still never blamed me. Now he's blaming me. From what I understand, everything that I see now, he's blaming Sean Hancock. He don't know how to say my name, Sean. He says Sean Hancock every time he says my name 45 times in a row. But he's blaming me personally, and he's blaming the rooms. He was never saying any of that to even begin with. Whenever he posted it online on his Facebook page, he was saying that Tim Bresnan was trying to screw me. He thought I would be an idiot. He wanted me to pay $690 for a room. You know, he's blaming all on Tim. Tim ain't got a dog in the hunt. Tim didn't have anything to do with the room. First off, this didn't have anything to do with the room. And the danger didn't have anything to do with Tim if it was the room. But I don't get how he was blaming Tim, but now he's blaming me. But that's
hold on, Sean. Let me do this now, because now we got both sides of the story here. Let me hit him up right now, see if we can get him to pop on. And you know, I'm gonna keep this real short and sweet. You know, we're gonna see if we could just resolve this in a matter of a couple of minutes. And you know, I don't want to keep going back and forth. You know, but if we could solve it, it would be a great thing to solve right now. You know, so let me just shoot him a quick text.
So while we're talking about that, he was talking about his match with Tim and how what he's saying, he was real close to him, or he felt like he took his hand a few times, or they were talking about Dave was saying he's real close to Tim in strength.
Yeah.
And it was a really close match. And I can wait for him to get on there if he wants to, but it was not a close match.
Okay. And then there was some with the fouls or whatever. He said there was a bunch of fouls.
Well, I mean, if you foul, you foul. We're not going to invent a foul, but if it happens, we're going to call it. And it's just whenever on your podcast yesterday, like I said, when I watched it, he was saying how close he felt that he was to Tim. I've seen Tim compete all over the place. I've been in his corner in Poland while he was pulling top 8 events. I've repped him a ton of times. There is a different Tim when Tim has a real opponent. Tim buckles down. He puts a lot of power into it. That was not the case with this one. He was basically toying. He was letting him work. And I do that a lot of times whenever I have a lot more power than somebody. I'll let them work and let them work and let them work. That does not mean they're close to me.
Okay. So we got Dave is getting on right now. I think he's getting his audio on. Dave, I can't see you right now, bro. You there, buddy?
On.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, could hear you loud and clear. So we got everybody on here right now. We got Sean here. We got Dave here. So we were just kind of going over Sean's
What's up, everybody? So,
yo,
everybody go over to part 3 to sit down. That's where you're going to see the whole interview between Dave Marrocco and Sean Hancock. We're going to let them hash it all out. You do not want to miss this. Make sure to tune in. Part 3 to sit down.